What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my builds guide and unit review of Nabata Altina, Igrene, Tormod and also Juno. So let us start with Nabata Altina, who's an axe infantry unit this time with Arcadian axes as the preferred weapon. So this is 11 might dual phase brave weapon, which also gives her minus on special cooldown, making her special Arms of the Three into a 1 cooldown special, which she can easily loop with Time Pulse 4, and it also has distant counter built in, so she can just stack up even more stats from her slotty skill and Sacred Seal instead of running any kind of prime skill or distant counter. And at start of combat, if her HP is at or above 25%, then she's able to debuff the foe for minus X attack, defense, and resistance, and this is going to be depending on 5 plus 20% of her visible resistance. So with her base resistance, you're going to be able to debuff the foe for minus 14, which is pretty good for tanking and also for doing damage. And then finally, she does have the scowl effect built in her weapon, which is really good thing because she's not a dragon. She wouldn't have access to the scowl effect otherwise, unless you run her with Veil, and that could still be done so that you can get the double scowl. So the scowl effect is going to be checking for her resistance. So this is an amazing effect to have on an Omni tank like her because she's not going to be getting hurt by these specials, and she already has such good natural bulk that she's going to be able to tank a lot of threats really easily. And she also has her preferred special in Arms of the Three. So this is going to be a 1 cooldown special, which is going to be giving you damage based on 40% of her resistance, and just like Twin Blades, it is going to be completely neutralizing any kind of percentage based damage reduction skills of the foe. And this also has the Dragon Wall damage reduction up to 30%. The only difference is that this is unpierceable, completely unpierceable damage reduction, which is an insane thing to have on an Omni tank because we have so much damage reduction piercing. So being completely immune to that is going to be amazing for an Omni tank like her. So this is going to be adding to her tanking prowess, and she does have pretty good mixed bulk with base 42 defense and base 46 resistance. She also comes with a new slot B skill in attack defense bulwark, so it is going to be having the super obstruct effect, which can just prevent your allies from getting hit, and then it also inflicts -4 attack and defense debuff on the foe in the combat, and now gives you the 40% damage reduction on foe's first attack, including the brave hits. So this is an amazing slot B skill for any kind of slow unit who cannot really run the damage reduction skills that well. So this is going to be giving you that healing after the combat, and it also gives you that damage reduction. But keep in mind that the damage reduction she gets from the bulwark skill is completely pierceable, unlike her special. So overall, Altina is going to be functioning as an amazing Omni tank, and she's easily one of the best Omni tanks in the entire game because of her preferred special and also her weapon. And because she's got an unpierceable damage reduction, it makes her really solid, and she also has a dual phase brave weapon while having base 47 attack with a super boon. So she's going to be hitting really hard, and there are a lot of options that she can run as an infantry unit. And if you're going to be building her up on a budget, then you can simply run her with reposition and then attack resistance ideal Sacred Seal, because she does do the damage based on her resistance. So stacking up her resistance is helpful, and that's why she comes with attack resistance finish 4, and Time Pulse 4 is going to be the perfect slotty skill using which she can loop her special. But if you're going to be using her in Aether Raids offense, then she can also go the route of functioning as a Vantage unit. So you can use her with Spring Bernadetta or Winter Bernadetta and fall into the Vantage and Brazen range by using Reciprocal Aid. So having that friendly fire damage is really important, and Altina is going to be able to function as an amazing Vantage unit because she has the failsafe of having the unpierceable damage reduction and the scowl effect. So even if she gets hit by some kind of hardy bearing nuke, she's going to be able to survive most of the times compared to any other Vantage unit. It does mean that you'll have to run something other than the finish kill in her slot A because the healing is going to be having anti-synergy with the Vantage. So attack resistance unity can be an option that you can run in the slot A from the divine codes. And even though she's a really good Omni tank, she can still function as an amazing Vantage unit because she can have the brave effect and also pierce the damage reduction of many of the nukes. So it is not going to be a point of concern for her. And because of the things that she has, even hardy bearing opponents might not really do too much to take her out. And then if you're going to be wanting to use her more as an Omni tank, then you can try and run her with Null Counter Disrupt so that you can retaliate back to the fire sweep and wind sweep opponents and not just get stopped by them. And Hardy Bearing is going to be a pretty important sacred seal, especially for Summoner Duels and for Aether Raids offense, because there's going to be Desperation nukes and you can just disable their Desperation effect and easily tank them, especially with the unpierceable damage reduction, and you also get the damage reduction out of Null Counter Disrupt. And Bulwark skill can still be good for Aether Raids offense, but like I said, retaliating back to any kind of Fire Sweep or Wind Sweep units is really important for Aether Raids offense. So it can be run, and then you can even run her with Fire Flood Boost 3 so that you can get the guard effect, which she seems to be missing from her base kit. So you can get the extra bulk and also the guard effect, and you already get the healing out of the Bulwark skill. So even if you've not got Finish skill, you can still get that healing. It's just that she's not going to be getting the in-combat healing. Nabata Igrene is a blue infantry archer with Sand Glass Bow as a preferred weapon. This gives her -1 special cooldown, making all of the AoE specials as 3 cooldown. And then she also has the super quick and pulse effect built in this weapon. So at start of turn 1, she's able to get the -2 special cooldown, which is really helpful for setting up Blazing Wind along with her Slotsy skill. And at start of turn, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she's able to give herself and the infantry and armored allies in 2 spaces the unhindered movement status and also +1 movement. So this is going to be a really amazing utility that she can provide to her teammates, and this also makes her as an amazing nuke because not only she's going to be having really strong AoE specials, but she also has better reach because of having this +1 movement. Now you'll have to watch out for the stalled status, but usually the stalled status is going to be focused on the slower units, so you can try and have it away from your Igrene so that she doesn't really get stalled. And in the combat, you're also able to get +6 attack and speed, and you also get true damage based on 15% of her attack, which is going to be getting added into the AoE specials. And then she has got another source of true damage on her special triggers. So this is going to be giving her the true damage only on the specials, including the AoE specials. And this is going to be based on X% of her speed, and X is going to be the maximum special cooldown count multiplied by 10 and then added by 10. So with an AoE special, she's going to be able to get 40% true damage based on her speed, which is quite a lot. So Ascended Set, in my opinion, used to be the best AoE nuke just in the terms of the pure AoE damage, but I do think that Nabata Igrene is now the best AoE nuke because she's got 2 sources of true damage, which is absolutely insane. And she has amazing base attack at base 46 and also base 46 speed, which does have a super boon. She doesn't really have a super boon on the attack stat, which does matter for the AoE nuking, but she's absolutely insane with that +1 movement and also 2 sources of true damage. And the fact that she can give this to the infantry and armored allies does make her have pretty amazing utility that a lot of the AoE nukes are simply not going to be having. For her base kit, she does have Flash Barrow, which is going to be helping her loop the AoE special, and for the fodder, this is going to be an amazing slotty skill that you can get along with Speed Defense Tempo 4, which does pierce the damage reduction and also has the Null Guard and the Null Special Acceleration built in. But these skills, in my opinion, are not the most optimal on Igrene for an AoE nuke. She does come with a new Slotsy skill with Pulse Up Blades, so this is going to be mostly useful in Arena and also in Aether Raids offense on the units that have some kind of high cooldown special and they can simply wait a couple of turns to charge it up. So at start of turn, it is going to be giving you attack and speed +X and also -1 special cooldown. It doesn't really check the maximum special cooldown count like Time Pulse, and you're not going to be able to loop, a 1 cooldown special repeatedly like Time Pulse 4. But still, it is going to be giving you that visible buff depending on the turn count multiplied by 2. So on turn 3, you're going to be able to get the max +6 attack and speed, and it can also help users charge up these specials. So it is kind of similar to the Weapon of Duo Thor, where you can slowly charge up your special. Now, just like Time Pulse 4, this is going to be restricted to the infantry units, so you can only run this on like cavalry units or flyers, unfortunately. And this Slotsy skill, along with the super quick and pulse effect in her weapon, is going to be making sure that she can charge up her AoE special at start of turn 1 on any kind of map, and she's going to be a really strong AoE nuke. She also has a harmonic skill, which is going to be affecting only the Binding Blade and Blazing Sword units, and it is going to be giving the visible status effects to herself and the allies from the same titles. So she can provide the Resonance Blades effect, the Treachery status, which is basically giving you the true damage based on the visible buffs that Igrene has got or the unit has got, and also the Desperation status. So she is going to be useful in resonant battles quite a lot because of having the +1 movement and also being able to give that +1 movement to the infantry and armored allies. She's also going to be really strong in Aether Raids defense, and she is going to be just manifesting the infantry lines because you have seen flyer lines, you have seen cav lines, and now Igrene can just enable the infantry lines or even the mixed lines where you have, a couple of cavalry units and a couple of infantry units. And you can also tech for the stall status by running Safi on your team with the Recovery Cleansing or Freyr in the Anima season. So I do think that infantry lines are going to be something that we're going to be seeing, and she's a really strong AoE nuke, which does mean that she does have place in Summoner Duels as an amazing nuke and also as a utility unit for improving the mobility of your infantry allies. And it can also help you just make sure that your Farsafe tank has got better mobility to be in the zone. So even if you're running Soaring Guidance, you can just have better mobility on your armor units, which is definitely helpful. And she does have insane AoE damage to the point where she's going to be melting any kind of nuke that doesn't have damage reduction against the AoE specials. We do have that status effect from Goto, and even Duo Byleth can get it from his Duo skill, but it can only be used once per map in something like Summoner Duels at the very least. So she's gonna be a really strong AoE nuke and the best one in the game. And I know that we have got a lot of nukes nowadays, but when it comes to the AoE nuking, Igrene has got all of it from the pre-charging of the special and also a lot of true damage in 2 different ways. So if you're gonna be building her up on a budget, then you can try and run her base kit, but for the AoE damage you can run Life and Death Sacred Seal because the AoE specials do take your visible attack stat into the account, and if you're going to be trying to optimize your Nabata Igrene, then I highly suggest you to have Life and Death 4 in the slot A and also Special Spiral 4. Even the version 3 of these skills can work out, but Special Spiral 4 is going to be giving you that +5 true damage, and Life and Death 4 does give you a bit of extra AoE damage. So you can just run Life and Death in the Sacred Seal as well and stack up the visible attack for the AoE nuking, and Nabata Igrene can just get so much AoE damage that he can just use the lower multiplier of the growing specials and cover more area. So you're going to be able to AoE nuke still pretty hard, and even with a growing special, she's going to be able to easily nuke as we have seen before with Ascended Zed if you have used him. So same goes for Igrene. It's kind of unfortunate that she doesn't come with this build because this is the ideal AoE nuking build that you can run on her, and you can even run her with Speed Preempt. So in something like Summoner Duels, if you can kill their Farsafe tank, then you can just pose as an annoying unit because you've already done the damage to their team with the AoE special, so it can be a bit annoying to get past this kind of Igrene with Speed Preempt if you don't really have the fast units or Hardy bearing Sacred Seal. So it's also an option that you can run on AoE Igrene for Summoner Duels. The 4-star focus unit of this banner is going to be Tormod, and he is a red infantry mage with Nabata Beacon Plus as the inedible red tome. So this is a 12 might weapon which is going to be giving you the unhindered movement status and also the desperation status. So unhindered movement status is something that we have seen before on Kade and Lind. It is essentially going to be giving you the movement which cannot really be hindered by the forest tiles or the trench tiles if you're a cavalry unit, or even the flame tiles if you're a ranged unit like him. So it is pretty good to have, and it can also be helpful on the cavalry mages, especially if they're fast, so that they can make use of the desperation status and just function a lot better offensively. And this weapon is also going to be giving you +4 to all of your stats in the combat and true damage based on 10% of unit's attack stat. And Tormod does have pretty good attack stat at base 43 with a super boon, and he also has base 45 speed, so he does have the offenses to function with this weapon really optimally, and he also gives you fodder in form of this weapon and also speed resistance tempo 3 at 5-star. We haven't really gotten the tier 4 version of this skill, but whenever we get it, it is going to be useful. And he also provides you with speed resistance gap 3 at 4-star, which is not really all that impressive because we do have Miranda in the 3-star 4-star pool who already had this kind of skill for forever. So I kind of wish that he had something else in his slot C, but overall he's going to be functioning as a pretty solid offensive speedy red infantry nuke, and he does give you this weapon, so you can easily run this on a cavalry nuke that is fast enough to make use of the desperation status. So Groom Robin can just make use of this weapon, and it is going to be better than Arcane Eclipse for most of these fast units, because getting the desperation status and also being able to just get over the weakness of the trench tiles is amazing on a cavalry unit. And we do have the new Fortress skill, which can give you Canto 1 at the bare minimum, and the inside attack speed skill can also just help you stack up even more offenses. And this can also be run on infantry nukes like Urk, who can just get past the forest tiles and easily run a build like this, focusing on the player phase. And this can also be helpful on any kind of dancer like Duo Secret, for example. It is going to be just helping you have better mobility and just dance up the allies even over the trench tiles. If you're going to be building up Tormod on a budget and you just want to use the fodder from the Divine Codes, then this is a build that you can use. The Ideal skill does have pretty good synergy with the Desperation status, because you're going to be at the full HP, ideally most of the time, so it can work out. And then you can trigger Glimmer if you kind of pre-charge it with any kind of infantry ally, and attack speed Oath 4 is going to be giving you that extra offenses and also another status in the Order status. And Blade Session is going to be the perfect player phase Sacred Seal to maximize the offenses. You can also run him with Flash Barrow as the slot A skill and run Magical Null Follow-Up. So Magical Null Follow-Up is definitely a really good slot B skill on him, because you do have the Desperation status, so getting past the follow-up negation effects is going to be an important thing. And if you can only outsource the Null Follow-Up effect, then you can just run it in his kit with Magical Null Follow-Up and also just pierce the damage reduction. And you're also going to be able to get those special charges to trigger Glimmer on the double attack. You can also use him with Speed Resistance Tempo 4 whenever that comes out in the future, but because of having the Tempo skill, you can pierce the damage reduction and also run the Pledge skill to get the special charges. And in the slot A, you can run Attack Speed Finish 4 to get some healing and also the true damage. So I don't really think that you should be giving him Arcane Eclipse, because we're probably going to be getting another Arcane Red Tome specialized for the fast units probably this year, and until then, his default weapon is still pretty good with the Desperation status. And finally, at max investment, whenever he gets the Tempo 4 skill, you can run that and also get the Null Follow-Up status from Infantry Null Follow-Up, and it is also going to be able to just support your allies, which is really helpful. And because we have got the Tempo effect, we can easily make use of any kind of special charging skill and just get past the guard effects of the enemies. Nabata Juno is a sword flyer this time, and she has got Blade of Sands as her preferred weapon, so this is going to be giving you -1 special cooldown, and at start of turn, if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, then she can give herself and the allies in 2 spaces the +6 speed and resistance buff, the bonus doubler status, and also the Null Panic status. So she can function as a pretty good support unit, especially for something like Summoner Duels, where she can frontline because of having Guard Bearing 4 and being a flying unit. So she can enable the warping with Soaring Guidance or Guidance 4 and still give the bonus doubler effect to the other allies. Of course, she is no Legendary Eliwood with that global range, but that is one of the things that she can do with this kind of weapon. And then in the combat, she's able to get +5 to all of her stats, and also gets the full Null Follow-Up and true damage based on 20% of her speed. So it's a pretty basic weapon when it comes to the in-combat effects, but she's mainly going to be there as a support unit, as a flying unit who can run a lot of the flying skills, and she does have base 46 speed with a super boon, so that is going to be helping you make use of the Null Follow-Up effect. And she also comes with Guard Bearing 4, which can give her the damage reduction and just help her function as a better frontliner, and it can also provide you with the debuffs on the foe to their speed and defense. And she also comes with attack defense variant of the Oath 4 skill. So this, along with her weapon, is going to be fully buffing her up and also giving her the Order status. And because she's got bonus doubler in her weapon, she makes pretty good use out of the visible buffs. So even though Nabata Juno is not an insane unit, she does have a niche with that bonus doubler effect, even though we have got a lot of ploy skills which kind of get past the bonus doubler status. Still, I mean, you can use her in any kind of season and also in Summoner Duels as a frontliner. And if you're going to be running her on a budget build, then you can simply give her any kind of form skill in the slot A, speed defense form or attack speed form, both could be obtained from the 4-star units, and you can just run the same in the Sacred Seal. But if you're going to be giving her a bit more premium skill, then attack speed clash is going to be working out because it is going to be counting the spaces moved even when you warp with her slot C skill. So it can help you get the attack and speed debuff neutralization, and you can even run her with distant counter melee Sacred Seal because she does have bulk with that bonus doubler effect in her weapon, and also the damage reduction of guard bearing 4. And you can also use her in Summoner Duels with a Unity skill because she can boost up her speed. So in case you get panicked or debuffed, Unity skill can help you, and you can even run Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance so that you can enable the warping on your team, which is not something that Legendary Eliwood is going to be able to do. So this is going to be helping you function as a frontliner, and you can make use of the Oath Echo skill so that you can still get the Orders buff and just teleport and then draw back some of her units so that they can warp. And finally, if you want to use her at high investment, then No Quarter is going to be the option that you can run as her special so that she can pierce the damage reduction of the enemies, and she herself gets the damage reduction from guard bearing. And because she already gets 2 visible status effects from her weapon and a third one with her slotty skill, she can easily run a prime skill in the slot A, and you can just give her 1 additional status effect and she's going to be able to access the distant counter effect in the prime skill. So this way you can stack up even more attack and speed by having something like attack speed catch in the Sacred Seal. And if you run her with Legend Hinoka or Young Minerva, then you're able to get the special charges status, which does allow her to retaliate back with No Quarters, which is going to be piercing the damage reduction. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as the trench tiles against the unhindered movement status. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.